It rises from the desert's floor as the mightiest monument ever erected to the glory of one man, to inspire all men for all time.
Egypt, 50 centuries ago, when her culture and civilization flourished in a setting of unequaled pomp and grandeur, when her proud legions had conquered all the world and plundered its treasure to feed the insatiable ambition of the greatest of all pharaohs, Khufu the Magnificent, a man of superhuman strength and courage, yet consumed by a fear so strange that he tried to conceal.
Land of the Pharaohs, starring British actor Jack Hawkins, was supposed to be the screen sensation of 1955. The movie is a fictional account of the construction of the Great Pyramid, and of course, of Khufu himself. The film was as epic in its lavishness and scale as the pyramid, with outstanding pageants and thousands of extras in some of the scenes. However, unlike Khufu's pyramid, the movie was a flop. The pyramid, the last remaining wonder of the ancient world, still draws thousands of admirers every year and retains top billing on most visitors' trips to Egypt. In 2500 BC, King Khufu could rightly be described as the richest man on earth. Egypt's vast riches, evident in the treasures buried with Tutankhamun, still stand today. It came from the fertile soil of the Nile Valley and the country's gold mines, as well as its strategic location at the centre of the known world. Gold nuggets were first collected in places such as Wadi Hamanat around 4000 BC, along with nodules of copper. 1,000 years later, these mines in Egypt's eastern desert were working full pelt, producing vast quantities of precious materials, minerals, semi-precious stones such as turquoise, beryl, amethyst, lapis lazuli and malachite. Khufu had all the assets of the state at his disposal, and he spent it on a community project, launching himself into the realms of the gods after he died, so that he could work with them and support and protect the people of Egypt. Today's richest men are also interested in launching themselves. Elon Musk, the co-founder and CEO of Tesla, is the wealthiest person in the world as of February 2022, with a net worth of $224 billion. Just behind Musk is the founder of Amazon, Jeff Bezos, with an estimated net worth of a mere $178 billion. Musk's SpaceX program is focused on the construction of reusable rockets, while Bezos's plans are for space tourism and renting business space in space, no doubt all offered at sky-high prices. The images of Musk and Bezos are plastered all over the media. We know exactly what they look like, who they're married to, who they're sleeping with, where they live. But it's not true for Khufu, or Cheops as the Greeks called him. There are no contemporary records that tell us what Khufu was actually like, and remarkably, there are no reliable images of him either. Together with the enigma of his pyramid or horizon, these facts have fueled endless speculation about the man who commissioned the world's largest man-made mountain. In this video, we're going to examine the various possible images of Khufu that have been discovered over the centuries. But before we dive in and look at the statues and reliefs themselves, it's essential to understand that pictures of people and things were not designed to be accurate or realistic in ancient Egypt. The ancient Egyptians always stylized and idealized their works of art. There was no requirement for realism or perspective. Images of people were designed to last for eternity and to make them immortal. So it's hardly surprising that everyone wanted to look their youthful, perfect best. But that doesn't mean that we can't glimpse a small part of the individual in the work of art. It really depends on where the art is and what it was used for. The first images of Khufu to be discovered were found by the German Egyptologist Carl Lepsius at Wadi Maghaha in the Valley of the Caves. The caves lie to the south of Sinai, close to the royal copper and turquoise mines. They're now in the Cairo Museum. In these images, Khufu is shown in an idealized form, wearing a short kilt and the double crown of Upper and Lower Egypt. He stands in the traditional spiting pose, accompanied by the gods Thoth, Wepawet and his father King Snefru. Basically, this is a trespassers will be prosecuted notice, warning foreigners what will happen to them if they try to take away what belongs to Egypt. Another idealized image of Khufu was found in the 1920s by the American archaeologist George Reisner at Giza. In fact, Reisner's team uncovered 4 limestone relief fragments. Fragment 1 is inscribed with the cartouche name of Khufu, with the phrase "building of the sanctuaries of the gods." Fragment 2, found at the same time, shows a row of fat oxen decorated with flowers. These animals were clearly prepared as sacrifices and indicate what might have happened during an offering procession. The guiding inscription calls them the beautiful bulls of Khufu and sobbing for Khufu, so their slaughter was probably part of Khufu's funeral ritual. A third image shows the earliest known depiction of royal warfare. The scene is called Archers Prepare and shows archers drawing their bows. And the fourth and final example, found by Reisner, shows the king wearing the double crown and impaling a hippopotamus, as we see in other images of the traditional hippopotamus hunt. The annual hippopotamus hunt was a ritual where the king acted out the part of the god Horus in the Contendings myths. When the king kills the hippo, it represents Horus's triumph over the god of chaos, Set, and the restoration of cosmic order. All of these images were discovered in the debris surrounding the pyramid site, including the remains of the causeway leading up to the pyramid from the river, and the 2 temples dedicated to Khufu on the site, the Mortuary Temple and his offering temple. Interestingly, the causeway is part of Khufu's pyramid complex that has never been fully excavated. According to Dr. Hawass, This is because it's just so long at 825 metres. The Greek historian Herodotus, writing in about 500 BC, tells us that the causeway was made of smooth stone with figures carved upon it, and so some of the reliefs discovered by Reisner may have been part of the reliefs observed by Herodotus 2,000 years after the pyramid complex was completed. Another couple of fragments, this time from Khufu's Mortuary Temple, have been discovered reused in the step wall of the medieval tower of Bab al-Futa, or the Conquest Gate, one of the medieval gates into Cairo. This magnificent gate was finished in AD 1087 and still stands today. The reused fragments show scenes of the Heb Sed festival, a periodic jubilee of kingly renewal, and the Hajet, or White One, the white crown of Pharaonic Egypt. Other blocks with carved reliefs showing images and dedications to Khufu were found in building materials associated with the pyramid complex of Amenhet I. Amenet was the first ruler of the 12th dynasty, the dynasty considered to be the golden age of Middle Kingdom Egypt. He ruled from 1991 to 1962 BC. According to the excavation director at the time, Dieter Arnold, these reliefs may have come from Khufu's Mortuary Temple, but are just as likely to be part of the temple dedicated to Khufu on the site in the Middle Kingdom. So those are all the idealised images of Khufu. Now, if we start to look at figures that are perhaps a more realistic image of Khufu, we've got several candidates to consider. The first is a portrait head described by the News Museum in Berlin as representing a pharaoh or a prince dating to the Old Kingdom. This figure of a young man is made from a sedimentary rock called breccia, a rock that looks somewhat like rose granite to the naked eye because of its colour and agglomerated crystal structure. It's thought to have been found at Giza, and it's been tentatively dated to 2400 BC, but whether it's actually an image of Khufu remains a matter of debate. Our next candidate was found in 1903 by Sir Flinders Petrie in excavations at Building K at Khenti Amenteo's temple complex at Abydos. This ivory statue of Khufu is perhaps the best known today. Amazingly, it's only 3 inches high, and it shows the king sitting on a throne wearing the red crown of Upper Egypt. The head is slightly too large for the body, and the portraiture is crude and expressionless. If this is Khufu, he is portrayed dressed in a short kilt, holding a flail over his right breast. His left hand is shown resting on his thigh. The pose replicates similar images of kings attending the Heb Sed festival. The only possible clue that this is an image of Khufu is an inscription scratched on the side of the throne. Petrie saw it and immediately dated the statue to the 4th dynasty. But it is more likely that this crude statuette is the work of a 26th dynasty craftsman, according to Egyptologist and pyramid expert Dr. Zawi Hawass. Hawass bases his opinion on the fact that Khufu's pyramid was a place of veneration from the time of its completion. The pyramid's temples drew visitors and worshippers for thousands of years after Khufu was buried, And this diminutive little trinket is quite possibly a high-class tourist souvenir bought on a visit to Giza. The Metropolitan Museum of Arts in New York is the home to our third and final statue that may represent Khufu. This is an unprovenanced soft limestone head, and again it's quite small. It stands 5.7 centimetres high and is 3.4 centimetres wide. The face, in fact, is remarkably similar to that of the peak tree statuette, and it has been tentatively dated to the Old Kingdom, to the 3rd or 4th dynasty. The image of this man with a large square face, wide set eyes, broad nostrils and a wide gape of a mouth is quite possibly Khufu. But unfortunately there's no inscription to tell us exactly who he is, and so its exact date and who it represents remains uncertain. Khufu's pyramid has been an enduring source of wonder that has perplexed historians for centuries. Little is ever said or written about the king who commissioned such a mighty work. It's important to understand that Khufu stamped his name on his pyramid with every stone of its unique design. The pyramid itself has no name or images carved on it, a fact that has been used to support many spurious claims that get a lot of press time these days. For instance, that the pyramid was not a burial place, and that there is no proof that it was the work of a king called Khufu, or even more outlandishly, that it was built by extraterrestrials. But I hope you can see that by digging a little below the surface of the so-called facts presented by popular conspiracy theorists, it's possible to show that the Great Pyramid of Giza was indeed the creation and burial place of the 4th dynasty king, Khufu. After all, Herodotus, writing 2,000 years after the pyramid was built, had no trouble identifying who it belonged to. I wonder if historians 2,000 years from now will even know the names of Musk and Bezos. If you want to find out more about Khufu and the building of the Great Pyramid of Giza, please subscribe or hit the notification button below.